Hello, guys, and welcome to the FPL Tips YouTube channel. We have a fresh Sunday recording, and both of us are here again after some quite a few game weeks. But now we are looking at a very crunch fixture period with the last international break having gone. It's almost gone. So it's time to sort of sit back and plan towards what's coming in front of us. And Anshuman is here with me. How is it going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Can't be more excited. I'll probably get more games going under my belt in terms of watching experience, and that will sort of improve as well. I've been always big on the eye test sort of thing. So yeah, excited about that. But yeah, it's good. It's a good sort of period to get into. Can't wait to get gain rank. I mean, at this point, I need to.
Yeah, and quite a few things to discuss because this has been a season where the ranks have been very volatile, and like there's been so much jump up and
Yeah.
down. So many players who you want to own who are not in your team, and like yeah, it's just a very tricky season, and it's sort of fun because it's very tricky, and all teams are not templatized yet. It's been 11 game weeks, and the kind
There's
of
no,
templatized players are barely two or three. So that's sort of the exciting part of the season.
yeah, that's kind of the exciting part.
Okay, let's sort of get started. We can first discuss on the structure that we would like to look at in teams, because there has been a shift in the structure which started with the two premium structure, with just one of one of Saka and Palmer, and one of Haaland and Salah, but now it's looking towards three premium structures. So the premiums are the players who are sort of the expensive guys. Like I think Haaland, Saka, Salah, Son, and Palmer come into that list,
Yeah.
while the others are like mid-priced semi-premiums with Watkins, Isak, and Fernandez. This is the chart from Lego Money FPL. You can drop him a follow on Twitter. He puts a lot of these hop on and hop off kind of things where you look at the fixtures from a pure fixture point of view. When do these big hitters have their fixtures, their good fixtures, and then when can you hop off from them and hop on to someone else, in terms of mainly in terms of captaincy as well, because you need these guys as captaincy options. So what do you think overall, as a look at this particular chart and how the premiums are structured this season, and who do you have your eyes set on over the next few game weeks?
I mean, I definitely agree that I agree on the shift towards the three premium structure. And I think that is sort of necessary. I'm also in the camp for three premiums. I don't think no longer two premiums really cover the point at this point in the game. You need them, and there have been like outlets for cheaper outlets for points as well. So firmly there, and there's definitely questions that we need to sort of discuss and bring. I think you're firmly on the three premium camp as well, and that's why we're discussing this. But I am currently sort of in transition from Haaland to Salah, and that's what sort of a bigger point of discussion. And I think the structure more likely looks is between one out of Haaland and Salah, and then you get two out of Palmer, Son, Saka, and alongside, if possible, Bruno and Isaac. That's sort of the structure that we. So those three out of Saka, Palmer, Son, Isaac, Fernandez, and then one out of Salah and Haaland. That's sort of the structure I'm aiming at and looking for. And yeah, the question although is now, given the fixtures we're already done with 11, 12, and versus Salah and Haaland for the next three, four is sort of mixed bag. And that's the decision I am currently on.
Yeah, and if you look at the fixtures together, I think I'm currently without Haaland, and the immediate thought for me is, now that I'm without Haaland, if he starts sort of scoring goals and scoring points like he did in the first 5 weeks, how do I get him back, and when do I get him back? And that's been sort of running through my head of late, and looking at the fixtures of Salah and Haaland, who are your main like primary captaincy options. If you look at your premium structure, where I'll see the secondary as Saka and Palmer, their fixtures sort of go together. You look at their mixed fixtures right now. Haaland has Spurs, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, to a good defense. Crystal Palace away currently looks easier than it does. Generally, Man United home, you've seen City do well there, and Aston Villa away. They are sort of mixed over there. While for Liverpool as well, Southampton is away, then Man City at home, then Newcastle and Everton, two difficult, tricky away fixtures. One, Newcastle, who are sort of on the rise this season again, and Everton always is a derby, which is difficult. Fulham are playing well, and Spurs. So you look at the next six fixtures for both of them, it's very, very mixed. And then
Yeah,
from game week 18 onwards, when maybe like as non Haaland owners, you're looking at game week 18 as a particular time to jump into him. But that game week 18 is the same week where Salah has Leicester at home, then West Ham away, Man United at home, Forest at away. Saka has Ipswich at home, Brentford away, Brighton away, Spurs at home, and Palmer has Fulham, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth. So you need to remove one of these to bring back Haaland. So that sort of also is very tricky. Maybe it's a little like medium to long term planning, but the fixtures of Salah and Haaland go together. So my primary point over here is, if you're gonna stay with one, you are gonna end up sticking with that player for the long run, and
long
you're
run.
gonna get the difficult fixtures together and the easy fixtures together as well. So there is going to be a lot of variance, and that's just a good thing for FPL.
But that's kind of the decision right now where we are all in. I think we should sort of it comes down to obviously Salah versus Haaland, and currently we were favoring Salah, and that's sort of my decision, sort of mind make up my mind as well. I think Salah is looking like the better player as of now. He's more involved, and Liverpool in general are also looking like the better team. Now again, with the fixture condition, generally City does well, and we can't really disregard that. Beyond 18, Haaland in your team is necessary, and when it comes there, you figure out. But till then, I figure out like beyond 18, like after Leicester, I think you can swap Salah to Haaland, and that's where your free transfers would come in. So I would probably, if I have to pick right now where I am looking from, I jump on Salah if you don't have already. If you have, well and good, just hold him. And then you hold him through Southampton, City, Newcastle, Everton, Fulham, Tottenham, Leicester, and then sort of jump off to Haaland again. That's where I am. Obviously, this can like obviously both of them are scoring points, but it's not about if Haaland can score. We all know he can in a given game, but that's the same with Salah as well. He can score against City, Newcastle, in your opposition, and he's been doing that. So that's why I feel like Salah till 18, and then you hop on to Haaland using a free transfer. That's what my plan should look like. I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easier for the players who have Salah right now to hold on to Salah until game week 18. It does seem the obvious one, because once you've jumped off the ship of Haaland, there's no point going back over there. You sort of looked at a long term fixture plan to sort of jump off Haaland, not just the two fixtures in 10 and 11, because he's a
Yes.
player you're not gonna jump off for like just 2 weeks and for given his price. But the tricky thing right now is for the Haaland owners like you,
Like me.
and how does it look right now? I think it's been pretty frustrating over the last few weeks that Haaland, who is sort of topped all XG charts, still has not been delivering the way Salah has done. And well, like, do you switch now? It's a very tricky answer, because you can see Haaland is a kind of player who can still continue switch, and he's getting the chances. The finishing has not been up to par, but he's getting the chances. What do you think?
It's obviously down to form and where Salah is leading. My only concern going into the fixture crunch with Haaland and Salah looks like City, if they catch rhythm, will most likely play a similar team, and Haaland will still get the amount of chances he does. I am really unsure, and I don't know as of now. When you look at the fixture crunch, will Salah play all these games? One, because Arne Slot will rotate. He has generally been doing a bit in the Champions League, around the Champions League. So that could be one, reduced minutes for Salah. Two, reduced minutes for everyone around him who helps Salah to score. So that's the only two primary concerns I have switching from Haaland to now Salah, given Halleck already committed. Second, obviously, there's that point that I think even Zofar made on his podcast where he said that Salah owners have already jumped on points. Now, the only way you can sort of cover those or sort of compensate is to hold Haaland and hope that Salah doesn't score. Because people who have Salah have already gained rank on me. I wouldn't gain rank going back to Salah. The only way I can is that they don't have Haaland, and I hope that he scores in the next couple of games. And that's where my thinking is. I do think like if you have Salah, you hold him till 18. There's absolutely no doubt to jump on and off right now. But if you have Haaland, it makes more sense with those two given points to sort of hold and structurally just sit tight.
Yeah, I think that really makes sense, and it's sort of the decision that should come into this week. But I think Tottenham is a fixture where Haaland is definitely capable of scoring points, and not sure. I mean, there have been Salah has been little like lucky also. He's been getting chances, and his finishing has been much better than it was in previous seasons.
I
Uh, yeah.
I mean, his hairline has made him confident for sure. and that's sort of a factor. I wouldn't really deny it. I mean, since he's got his head fixed, I think his finishing is definitely gotten more confident. He's got more confidence,
Uh,
and you associate
Maybe there's a
confidence with the
correlation.
player. Yes, there is some correlation definitely. I'm just be keeping jokes aside, but form has to be factored. And Salah has generally been someone who's great at form, and you can't really deny it. He was called April King for a reason. So my only problem with City right now, and I have two of them. If you see my team, I have Foden. I had committed to Foden. I had Haaland. Is just City don't look like the team they were without Rodri, and that's sort of going to be concerning in the next two games as well. Tottenham, Liverpool can show up. They can give you a game. So if City really don't do well against the next two, Nottingham, Crystal Palace, you obviously hold, but then there's too much dilemma. You're losing on points every game when Salah is outscoring Haaland.
Yeah.
That's sort of City
Uh,
is a
the-
problem.
no, but the other thing is as I mentioned earlier, you bank on these guys for captaincy. But in the next 6 weeks, if you look at captaincy, bringing in another player over here, which is Cole Palmer, other than maybe Spurs away in game week 15, you could captain him in every of those weeks, every one of those weeks. And he is sort of a flat track bully who sort of scores points against these
So,
teams. So my
so
point over here, I'll just try to frame it a little different. My point over here is if you're holding one of Haaland or Salah, you can still like if you sort of have the conviction that Palmer is going to sort of continue being the flat track bully over these fixtures, you can just end up captaining him in most of the weeks where the fixtures are mixed for these guys. And if you're not captaining Salah, why do you make the switch? That's just the question over here.
so exactly why you need to make a switch, and probably it's too late because let's say everyone will still have Palmer now that you're shifting to three period. There's no trend. He's sort of on the sidelines. People have selling him off. People will switch to Palmer, so that's an obvious possibility that other people will also captain him. When you look to a pure player-to-player comparison for rank, Salah is outscoring Haaland in every game week. Those are not just so it's not like other players will compensate because Palmer could be owned by other people as well. His ownership is high. So now you're looking just a one-on-one comparison for your most expensive player where you're going outscored every week, which is causing a rank drop. For people who want to go for rank, that's sort of the question that where I am as well. Like, do I lose points again to Salah says Haaland? Because you can't have both. Very few teams have both. I mean, obviously there is a bunch of people that have both, but majority are sticking on one end of the thing, and then Salah is outscoring every week on a pure one-on-one basis. That's where the dilemma is. And for people who are, I would say where I am in the camp where I've lost points, I would just back it because that's the only way I can gain rank. Going for Salah still will not make me gain rank over the other people who had Salah the last few weeks.
Yeah. That's purely my point as well. And you can just captain Palmer in those weeks. I think he's very much
Yeah, just hope.
captainable in those games. And you can captain Haaland also as and when you have him. But if you feel like I mean, it does feel a little like not like sort of counterproductive, not captaining Haaland but having a 50 million asset. But that
That's
there is
fair.
a way of thinking that you can just look for the points from Palmer because I mean I'm sure everyone's going to own Palmer, but not everyone's going to captain Palmer over this week, especially with the form that Salah is in and sort of the reputation he has. Although Palmer is sort of very close to him in points, he's not like he's blanked in 3 of the last 4 weeks. So the next few weeks, Salah is going to be the popular captain, like in Game Week 12 as well. But I
Like
think personally, Palmer is a very good captaincy option in Game Week 12. So that is said for an example. But over the next few fixtures, you see Palmer's fixtures is Leicester away, Aston Villa at home. Aston Villa not looking the best defensively. Southampton
yeah,
away again, bottom three club. Spurs away again. I mean, you could captain him, but still, it's a good fixture for Palmer. Brentford at home. Brentford are leaking goals. Everton away, Fulham at home might be the tricky fixtures. But as you go through this fixture, in like 4 or 5 of these fixtures, is pretty much captainable.
I mean the only hope Salah, Haaland owners right now is that Salah and Haaland do not have a difference of more than 5 or 6 points every game week. If there is a difference in favor of Salah, that's sort of the situation right now, and I hope that doesn't happen too much and too often.
Yeah. Let's jump into the other premiums. So I think Saka is someone who's not been owned by too many people, and since Arsenal are also not in the best of forms, there's been sort of a hold over there. Like not everyone is jumping at on Saka, like like this week because I like after this week, like Chelsea, Arsenal's fixtures also get very good. And
Yeah,
when is the time to go to Saka? But or if you look at other options from Arsenal, assuming there is a double defense of Arsenal in a lot of teams, is Havertz also an option? Um, and that's definitely a question that needs to be looked at, and looking at the sub premiums as well. I think Son also at this point is not looking at like an option, because he's like, Spurs are being very mixed, so is Son. And he's sort of wide, and Solanke and Brennan Johnson are looking at like sort of better options than Son in that team. So he's not even the best option in Spurs. Like, I mean, standout best option in Spurs right now. So that's sort of probably the issue with Son. But Isak and Fernandez are sort of putting their hands up as well, along with maybe Watkins not so much because his minutes are not the best. So how do you structure your other premiums around having Haaland and Salah, Haaland or Salah and and Palmer? I think Palmer is a must, right? Okay, we can agree on that. And the other premium is the one who is.
yeah. Given the fixtures, yes, but there has been a drop in form in Palmer because of the injury. You can see him in the play style as well. He's sort of not looking that confident. I think once he gets on the score sheet or something, it will get better. Purely given the fixtures, you have to jump on him. Uh, how I'd like to structure is probably one of Haaland or Salah, two out of the lot, which is again then Saka and Palmer becomes prime property for me. Then if you have no sort of trend, you can still fund either Bruno or Isaac. That's also been the conversation.
Hmm.
But sort of
I think that
Isaac,
there's
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, you can finish your point.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the structure. I think Saka and Palmer both fit into a three premium structure long term, and you should have them. They sort of core to the teams, and especially Arsenal, given the run, they will try to fight back Chelsea at the middling. Between the two, as of now, I would still jump on Saka. If he's fit, we don't know about his fitness as of now. That is sort of in the mix. But if he's fit, I'll jump there because I've seen Palmer play. There's a drop in form, and then I can get him back in 16. And for otherwise, I would keep Isaac as well. I think Sun is out of the conversation for me, as you said. Brennan looks better. He's central. Same with Watkins. Aston Villa don't look good to me.
Yeah, at this point, Watkins, although his fixtures are very good in the next four, he has three home fixtures where goals are going to come for Aston Villa, I think. But Morgan Rogers could sort of be a cover over there. I'm not sure you can call it a cover, but still, he's getting more minutes than Watkins. And Watkins himself was subbed in the 62nd, 63rd minute against Liverpool when Aston Villa are still in the game. So that says a lot. In when it looks at the like sort of not having Watkins, and that's a very important game. They've been losing three in a row, and in the fourth game, when you're 1-0 down and still in the game, you're bringing in Duran instead of Watkins, and not Duran instead of anyone else. There was a conversation in the middle that Duran and Watkins are playing together, but you're not sure about that. Sometimes it could be either or.
Yeah, that's true. That can be a conversation going down given those fixtures, especially that I think there is enough congestion around Aston Villa fixtures for that those periods as well.
Yeah,
And Duran has been doing great in the sort of
yeah,
Champions League as well.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
sort of down the line. As of now, I think if someone in 12 is looking for something in Game Week 12, I would avoid Watkins as of now.
yeah. Before we sort of rank our list of players in this group, let's just slightly touch upon sort of the most
Bruno
popular.
Fernandes.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes this week. He's been a popular guy who sort of get on the back of 10 points and 17 points, two hauls after like disappointing owners all over the season. Suddenly, he's becoming a sort of um like must-have
Sort of,
option in quite some
yeah,
of the
must have
teams.
in a
So
lot of
what?
teams. Yeah. I mean, I was about to get Bruno Fernandes, not gonna lie, this game week, but now that I have not, it makes me question: do I want him for the games ahead? Ipswich, Everton, Arsenal, Nottingham, Man City, the next five. Ipswich does catch my eye, but again, the games after that, I'm not sure how they'll do under the new manager. What will their playing style be? The new manager is known to have sort of a conservative approach to games. He's not an all-out attack sort of philosophy guy. So as of now, I was very close to jumping to Fernandez, but I'm sort of restricting myself. I'm looking at Isaac as a better alternative. He's sort of the same price. He's in a different position, but then since I have two, three free transfers, I can switch around players, and Isaac is where I am as of now.
Okay, I think between Bruno and Isaac, I'm also sort of I would also say Isaac, but just a point on Bruno. I think, I mean, in the new structure, everyone feels like Man United will play the 3-4-2-1 with the two
Yeah,
tens. And if it is a 2-10s, I think Bruno's sort of going to be the most involved out of the players, and they don't have a striker who's gonna like hog the chances like Ronaldo used to do like a few years back. If it was Bruno behind Ronaldo, then I'd be worried. But with Bruno being the number 10, he's sort of going back to the Ole days where he was the main guy in sort of getting the chances, getting the shots in the box, playing the late runs, and also chances creation, which he's still being like very high on.
Yes.
So I think it's a very interesting watch. It's just the worst time where Amorim is coming. Maybe if he had come 2 weeks back, everyone would have jumped on Bruno against Leicester. But now that that's gone, and the fixtures are now very mixed, and there are decent
Yeah,
home fixtures, but also tricky away fixtures in the mix. So that's
and
that's where.
yeah, and I agree with your point of the curve. Like there is a lot of sort of propaganda that this is the curve that Man United want to jump on. I don't think this is the curve you want to jump on. You want to wait out till at least Man City and then think about it. Because the good fixtures are just Leicester and Ipswich if you think about it. Leicester is gone, Ipswich is now, and there will be a bounce. There will definitely be a manager bounce. But beyond that, there's going to be a mixed sort of feeling, and it's going to be close games, tidy legs. The team's going to go defensive. Everton, Arsenal, Nottingham, the top defenses in the Premier League right now. Everton not that much, but the Cats are very, very capable of. So I don't think everything points towards he is a good asset, but the timing sort of wrong to me. If you hadn't, as a 1 week punt, yes, why would I not take him against Ipswich? But not otherwise as of now. Like, and you
Mm,
can buy him. He's got like rooster points. He's on set pieces. His finishing is good as of now. He's on penalties as well. But again, I, my only reason is that I don't like the fixtures beyond 12.
yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. Maybe if Everton it could be a decent fixture at home, but it's not the best of fixtures. And I am actually contemplating bringing in Bruno Fernandes this week for a hit. So, but you'll believe it or not. But it's just my plans on the long term on whether Bruno or Mbumo is the better asset going on from game week 14 onwards. So for the current next 2 game weeks, might want to have both, and then see what's in forward. But we'll come to that later. But let's just rank our sort of priorities in the premium. So like the premium, which is Haaland and Salah, the mid premiums, which is Saka, Son, and Palmer, and then like the third tier list, which is Watkins,
Yeah,
Isak, and Bruno Fernandes.
I would say for me in the top tier, Salah is better than Haaland any day. So
I'd agree with the
I
same.
look to make the switch long term. But since I have Haaland right now, I would not make it. And my only reason is since the switch that I should have been made a couple of game weeks earlier. Now I just pray and hope that Haaland outscores Salah till game week 15 and I can jump on Salah. That's the only sort of solution or the only way to gain back rank, and that's why I'm doing it. But Salah is definitely looking much better than Haaland as of now.
And yeah, I'd agree with the same. I think Salah is just looking on it right now, and does look like the must have. I mean, in wildcards, he's going to be a must have, and whoever has Salah is going to hold Salah. And now
The,
it's sort of a switch where Salah is going to be the sort of rank buster with the high
yeah, yeah,
elite ownership, and Haaland is going to sort of come to the Salah range, which we've sort of seen over the last two
2 years,
years
2
since
years.
Haaland came to the league. Yeah, but yeah, let's come to the Saka Son Palmer discussion.
Uh,
We might have
I've touched
some
upon Palmer.
disagreement in this.
Yeah, I've touched upon Palmer. I am a Palmer owner. I'm not very confident. Looking him play in the last 3 games, I was not confident. Uh, Saka, I've never been a fan. I mean, everyone knows that. Never been a huge Saka owner or a fan. But if I had to rank, I'll put Saka first as of now. Looking at the fixtures and just long-term punt, also out of the option is because when you look at like routes to points, given everything is so hop on, hop off, Saka feels like a more stable sort of player to him. Nottingham, West Ham, United isn't that tough. You can hold him through till 21 till Tottenham. That is why Saka is first for me. Then I have Palmer. Then I have Son because Son there is an alternative to Son. The other two don't have an alternative.
Mm. I mean, it would have been very close for me if not for the Ben White injury, which is sort
That
of
would
hindering
affect you. Yeah.
Saka, because when with Ben White was there, Saka is gonna get more like threat inside the box to take his
Inside the
shots.
box.
Now with Odegaard coming back, he's sort of gonna do the more, like he's not gonna be the primary creator. He's gonna sort of share it with Odegaard, but his shots volume will sort of increase with Ben White. So I'm not sure Timber could be a good option as well on the right. That's just the wait and watch for me, and that's why I don't think it's pretty close for me. For me, I think Palmer is comfortably number one, given his fixtures and the fact that he can just destroy any of these teams, and not having him can destroy your rank because everyone is going to have Palmer. And I mean, I understand the form point, but I think he's had a full international break of rest, and has he also had very middling, difficult fixtures: Liverpool, United, Arsenal. That these are the three games he blanked, and he did well against Newcastle, and he tends to do well in these fixtures. So I think Palmer is number one, and then Saka, and then Son. I'm not sure Son is going to be an option anytime soon.
No, yeah, it doesn't look
And
like.
yeah,
Just like also want to mention, like given the fixtures we're talking about Arsenal, I think Havertz is a good alternative. He's sort of in the third bracket that we're about to discuss, and I think Havertz should be considered in the third bracket with Isaac Fernandez, and it should be
yeah,
Havertz. He's also pretty essential. I think I would jump. Yeah, if I was between Saka and Havertz, I would go Havertz. He looks like a good sort of asset to own given the fixtures. I
maybe.
I I I pay close attention to the Ben White point you just made there because that will sort of affect Saka's position even with Odegaard, and that has historically been sort of a thing with for Saka,
Mm,
something to
yeah.
monitor.
And with Havertz, I think you now have Odegaard
He
and
doesn't
Saka,
drop
two
deep.
creators to Havertz.
He won't have to drop that
He's
deep.
not gonna drop. He's not gonna
Yeah,
drop deep, and he's gonna have two sort of elite chance creators creating chances for him. I think Havertz will be very good for this
yeah.
group of fixtures as well. I do agree with that.
And lastly, we have
Um,
Isaac and Fernandez. Both of us, I think, have a agreement here where we prefer Isaac long term.
yeah, yeah. Isaac long term, then Fernandez, then Watkins.
Yeah, and yeah, Watkins. I just disregarded him, but sorry, Watkins also. But yeah, third for me as well.
Yeah.
It's a pretty
Okay.
just
I think this has
in
been
depth
a
sort of
pretty lengthy
conversation on
section.
yeah.
Let's sort of skim through the other things which we had in mind. Before, yeah, let's start talking about the defenders, because I think that's another essential sort of discussion for wildcarders, as well as people who have the likes of Trent, the likes of Rico Lewis. Everton defense, Nottingham Forest defense, they are sort of bottom two in this fixture ticker, so that also is not going to be called upon. I mean, for the next three fixtures, you can call upon maybe Mikalenko 13. You call upon your Aina, but long term, I think you'll want to make a few defensive transfers, which is not the best. But whoever is, like, I'm in a same position. I have Trent and Rico Lewis. Looking at bringing in defenders who can be long term and clearing Trent's funds to sort of look at the fixture chunk of some of these players and have a long term view of fixtures for all of these. What do you
Yeah,
think about the defenders, and where do we stand right now?
I think my stand is one. I think we back the Arsenal defense back again. Given the fixture crunch, I think they are a sort of controlling team. They like to control the game with Odegaard back. They do it much better, and so I think Arsenal is again back on the cards where you want to focus on Arsenal defense. I think you'd firmly agree on that. And the second defense, I'm pretty much everyone's interested in Liverpool. I think those are the top two to target. I think I would pick Liverpool irrespective of where they are on the fixture ticker as of now.
Yeah, I think that tends to be the same from my side as well. I think Arsenal and Liverpool are the two top assets you'd look at, and I think, but they are not the most cheap
They're cheap.
options. So
They're obviously not
but
the cheap.
yeah, but let's sort of look in deeply with these two
But
teams first before looking at the other options. In the last 6 game weeks, although Liverpool have kept like a couple of clean sheets, Arsenal have kept none. They still are the two best defenses in sort of expected goals conceded, and they do look sort of on it. Especially Liverpool with Konate and Van Dijk sort of being set over there. Konate's fitness, I think, has sort of improved this season, and he's sort of focusing on that, focusing to stay fit, focusing to stay in the game, and he's sort of being one of the better defenders this season, which is sort of
yeah,
reflected in Liverpool's defense as a whole. And Arsenal, I think I wouldn't be too worried about. I'm not even thinking about removing anyone of Gabriel or Raya. I mean, it might be frustrating with them because you have money stored in them, but I think with the fixtures that we have coming up, they're just gonna be set and forget in your team, and you're gonna see more often than not they're gonna keep clean sheets. And they are a team that is going to sort of reflect on their start of the season, which has not been the best. Arteta demands a lot from that team, and you would expect them to come back after the international break through this crunch fixture period, being solid, being focused, trying to catch up the points that they have lost before the international break. That's what I would think about Arsenal, and I would try to bring in an Arsenal defender rather than remove one. And yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
same with Liverpool. But like I agree with all the points for these two. But moving here, I noticed like Newcastle, there's been some sort of shift, and what brings like catches my eyes, Wolves and Brighton are sort of like top three, 4 or 5 in the fixture ticker. If you go to back in the sort of bottom of the table,
yeah,
so we'll have to
yeah,
find alternatives to
yeah,
those
yeah.
for. Uh,
Just
I think
just going back to the slides
fixture D.
fixtures, but before that, let's just finish off our Arsenal Liverpool discussion by ranking them,
Yeah, yeah.
because I think there's a larger discussion coming up with the other teams,
Okay,
which
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
like
sure,
to
sure, sure.
discuss what I've noticed as well. With yeah, I mean, who would be like, let's group them together, I guess. Top two from
Sort
Liverpool,
of.
top two from Arsenal as well. You want to go
From
first?
Liverpool,
Arsenal.
obviously. For me, for Arsenal, I think for Arsenal, I would look at obviously Gabriel. That's number one. Two is Raya for me because that sort of is the cheapest route, and I think it's now stable. And he'll play all games irrespective of what rotation. Saliba will also play all games, but the right and left back are sort of rotation situations. Raya and Gabriel are top two for me. From Liverpool, it's first Konate for me, and the second then would be Trent. And I say this because
Okay.
uh, for the price difference, I don't see the output as of now. I've never been, I'm not sort of anti-trend and haven't been on that agenda, but he doesn't justify the price. Yes, the bonus points are there, but Konate at his value, you can use that 2 million significantly upgrading your team other places, given the structure people are moving to. So I feel Konate first and then second trend.
Yeah, I'll just go with mine. I think for Arsenal, maybe one of the important questions is for people who have Flecken. Do you
Yeah,
switch the gun to Raya, and do you want that price elsewhere? I think that's an important question. Or do you just stay with one Arsenal defender, which is Gabriel? Because at this point, Arsenal defense does seem more differential than it was before in the season. Not It's not very highly owned, and not been too many people are jumping on the Arsenal defense right now. They have other fires to sort of extinguish
sort of put
at the
out.
moment. So I think Gabriel is number one for me as well. But for someone who doesn't have Raya, it doesn't make sense to jump into Raya.
Yeah, it doesn't. It does like I mean, you can jump onto Raya. My only thing is that one, if you have no fires to put out anywhere else in your team, then you can consider it. Two, I would still wait for a couple of game weeks, at least for the Nottingham Forest, maybe the West Ham one, or maybe just the Nottingham, to see how Arsenal are. They have still conceded goals. It's not like they start and out start keep having clean sheets or keeping clean sheets. You probably want that confidence. They see that control in their game. Once you start seeing that, then you sort of jump on the double defense. That's where I am personally. That also gives you time
Yeah,
enough to put out your other fires. Use your transfer.
yeah, okay. And just another small question: if people are looking to move away a Trent or a Guardiol, or someone who's mid price and doesn't have the second Arsenal defender as Raya, would you just go Saliba there instead of looking at Raya? I mean, just hold your keepers, cheaper
I
keeper
mean,
for long term.
there comes it jots down to like a larger discussion of where you want to use that trend to maybe a 4.5 or 5 million guy funds because that extra 1 million sort of will help you upgrade to Rogers maybe to that gets you to Bruno for sure Smith
Hmm.
to Bruno and otherwise you would get to only a 7 million guy. So it is a very large sort of discussion and something you would want to choose. But generally during this period of uh, the winter period, I generally put in my money in attack because historically there have been more goals scored around the Christmas period, around the Boxing Day, the New Year's Day, and that's where I generally want to have players. And these players, like not players which are doubt for minute, but players which are nailed on. Like Bruno is nailed on for sure. Like
Hmm.
Isaac is likely to play all games, so such players will help.
Yeah, fair. I think. Yeah, I get your point over there.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Let's rank Liverpool quickly as well.
I mean, you can go
You
ahead
did. You
first.
finish your rank. I'll just go ahead. Sorry. I think I have Konate as one, and I have Van Dijk as two, compared to your Trent, because Van
Okay,
Dijk currently, he looks, he's not. he also is sort of the main guy who they aim in set pieces, so that sort of helps you, and he's just gonna be there 90 minutes every game. And while Trent
Yeah.
is getting niggles here and there, he's also had substitutions in the 60th minute. More tend to look at rotations over there rather than
Then Van Dijk,
looking
yeah,
at Van
correct.
Dijk. Is more
Given this period.
solving like zero 0.6, zero 0.7 cheaper, and he's also currently the highest scoring defender in the game so far.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
these are all the points that add up to having Van Dijk at number two. The left back situation is something that's interesting. I just like to point out is Simicaz is sort of the number one right now, but that doesn't mean that Simicaz and Robertson there's still going to be rotations over there. If this was an earlier time of the season where we knew for sure Simicaz was number one, where the rotation would not be so much, then maybe I would take a punt over there. But I don't think it's worth the punt. You saw Simicas
Yeah.
being rotated against Aston Villa, so that's why I'd avoid the left back situation for those
Going
things.
into the Christmas period, yeah, yeah, and your Trent
No.
point does make sense because as soon as the game is sort of dodgy, they want to manage minutes. Trent is getting out and off,
Mm,
so Van Dijk does become more safer as an
mm.
option. I
Yeah.
agree.
There's another analysis that I recently saw on the Athletic discuss that the space occupied on the right hand side is purely Salah's right now. Like the movement of Soboslai, Trent, and the other players, they are dragging out the defenders to isolate Salah one on one with the left back, where Salah's sort of take on ratio has gone up, Salah's creation has also gone up. And Salah is the primary creator now, not Trent. So Trent is not occupying that right hand side space from where he's so good at whipping in the crosses. It's Salah who's whipping in the crosses. And Slot sort of prefers the inward ball where there are three a midfielder and the two attackers attacking that space rather than the Trent ball that we've seen in the past
Yeah,
under Klopp. That's another point to note that these are things that are adding up to not having Trent over the next few fixtures.
yeah, that's another tactical change would make difference to Trent's output as well, and then the bonus potential could go down and should
Yeah.
has already gone down, I think.
Yes, it does. It
Yeah.
does. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
larger discussion now. The section where I am interested in because I have all my players at 4.5 apart from Gabriel. What do you
hmm.
think?
So you look at the fixtures over here: Chelsea, Brighton, Wolves, Bournemouth. I am not Bournemouth, but Chelsea, Brighton, Wolves, and maybe Ipswich also in the top six. They have great fixtures coming up. And if you look at the other table that I brought in here, Chelsea, Brighton, Wolves, Ipswich are in the bottom like
10.
seven or 8 in this fix.
Yeah.
So does this mean that the fixtures have been difficult? That's why they are in the bottom part of this table. Will the fixtures convert into form? It's a very tricky discussion around the like
But
sub 4.5 midfield defenders, and it's about who do you think will sort of lean towards more clean sheets? Are you looking for clean sheets, or are you fine with the attacking returns you get from Leaf Davis or Ryan Nouri?
no, I think like a meta discussion here, just clear footballing perspective, is that I once seen Ipswich with good fixtures. I knew they had good fixtures in the last league. Wolves in the same category. Brighton, I'm not that sure, but Bournemouth also had decent fixtures. So at least Wolves and Ipswich, I can speak that they do not look like teams which will have clean sheets or keep clean sheets. Same with Brighton actually. Footballing wise, they're just not like a team which will not concede. They can be a team who outscores their opposition, but not a team that defends and keeps a clean sheet. Obviously Ipswich versus Brighton fixture they can, but I don't think even in that they would necessarily mean a clean sheet. But like purely out of a footballing perspective, Chelsea, Bournemouth on the other hand, which were there in the top six of the fixture taker, look like teams which can keep teams down to a zero, a nil-nil, or a 1-0, 2-0 perhaps, and they look like of more interest. Even Newcastle, as of now, look like of more interest to me. And this is purely
Yeah,
out of a footballing perspective.
yeah, I tend to agree with it. When you're looking at teams like Brighton, Wolves, and Ipswich, you'd want to go to the more attacking outputs over there. You're not gonna go for a Van Heck or Dawson or yeah. I mean, I think you'd want to go for the explosive options who are there. I think Ryan Knight-Nouri and Leaf Davis have stood out so far this season, and it's also Kadioglu. I'm not sure about his injury or if he's not there. Estupinian, where Brighton are pretty attacking in these fixtures. So you can look at the attacking options, but you can't rely on their clean sheets. While you can, when you're looking to go to Chelsea or like Bournemouth, Newcastle in this list, who have very good fixtures, and also Bournemouth and Newcastle are top four in this
Yeah.
particular expected goals conceded list, and they do look like decent options to hold. And that's where you can also maybe go for. centre backs as well as fullbacks. I think both these teams have uh, fullbacks who are standing out in Kirkes for Bournemouth, Hall for Newcastle, and for Chelsea, I think Colville is standing up for Fana. I'm not sure about his, and maybe I'm not sure about the fullback situation as well. That you probably have a better idea about.
Chelsea fullback situation sort of Colville with injured. James should just fit in. I think he's decent enough, but there's not guaranteed sort of 90 minutes. He will get subbed off. So, and he doesn't look like the best James as of now. There is enough to wait and jump on him. Chelsea uh, don't look defensive. I'm not. I can't say for sure that we keep clean sheet. If at all you want to invest in the defense of Fleckento Sanchez is the best and easiest move, and that's sort of my only. If you're super high on Chelsea defense, that's the only move I would recommend.
Hmm. Okay, and so not Colville then. I mean, even
No,
though
I
you
wouldn't
might
like
keep clean
give.
sheets.
Yeah, no. With the injury concern around him, and the sort of, we know he's more essential going ahead in the season, and this is sort of the more crunch period. And I think we can rotate him if there is niggles around him and constant sort of problems. He has been facing them in the last couple of weeks, so maybe let him. Like if there is 100% fitness clearance, then maybe you can think of Colville. But I don't see a massive attacking output from him as of now. So Sanchez at least gets you those save points. That's
Yeah, but
where
if
my thinking
Colville
is.
is out or Colville is rotated, I think that weakens the Chelsea defense. So then Sanchez becomes a no-go as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, yeah. That's always the case here.
Yeah. Then I think we are looking at Newcastle and Bournemouth as the two sort of standout teams who have good fixtures as well as have good form defensively. So let's touch upon some of the assets from this team. I think Newcastle,
Yeah,
you can go for Pope as a keeper. There is Livramento is sort of cemented that position right now, and Share, Burn, and uh, Hall. I think Newcastle also that their if you look at them previously, their back four being solid and the same throughout has sort of helped them be a good defensive team.
yeah.
I think now I think Byrne has sort of settled in that center back role and he's sort of doing better than what he was doing last season, and that's sort of helping them along with Share, who's obviously been a very good defender for them.
And now Hall is back in their sort of lineup, which is huge. I think Hall obviously is huge of interest as well for us, but he's looking good. Even going ahead a bit, he's looked good. So I think Hall does really appeal me from Newcastle given the fixtures.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I think I'm looking at Hall
And
also from
Newcastle,
the Newcastle point of view. He's on set pieces. He's been creating a lot of chances. His minutes per bonus point, but baseline bonus point is also high. Like I mean, pretty low, as in it's very very good. So he does look like the best option from Newcastle at this point. But he's been
I,
starting each of the last 8 games, but I'm not sure if that's going to change in the festive period. What do you think?
now with Newcastle, that could happen. We have seen that Eddie Howe does that, but I think given how he's playing, how essential he is, and Newcastle are not like sort of very high on the table as well. So they are sort of now grinding results, trying to sort of catch up position. They're eighth. They have a chance to get back into the European competition slot, and I think Eddie Howe would primarily want that, and he would not change much. That's sort of my understanding of the situation, and I think he's good to start games. And even if he misses out the odd one game or maybe like gets subbed off early, I don't think that's a huge problem given his price point.
Hmm.
So that's sort of a good, still a great run of fixtures that you'll get out of him.
Yeah, yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think I'd
Bournemouth,
sort of prefer. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
let's
go
go to
ahead.
Burn.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
I
push
think
to
I'd
Bournemouth.
sort of prefer the Newcastle. I was also going to do that. I sort of prefer the Newcastle defenders to Bournemouth defenders because I mean I don't think Kirkes is not as attacking as Hall is, although he got two
No,
assists against Man City, and Bournemouth do sort of look to be the more like attack first team, while Newcastle are more solid at the back. We've seen historically as well. Maybe they're. I mean Newcastle also attack well, but it sort of looks like Bournemouth are the high pressing team who are very like high intensity team, and their next three don't look like clean sheet fixtures to me, where they're playing Brighton, Wolves, Tottenham. It's not
Tottenham.
like not the obvious one. Maybe Ipswich, West Ham can be clean sheet fixtures. United would not, and then Crystal Palace maybe, and Fulham would not. So in
Yeah,
the next 8 game weeks, I can see at max 3 clean sheets, while for Newcastle, I can sort of see 4 to 5.
4 to 5.
Uh,
Yeah, 5,
yeah,
4 or 5.
so that's
That's what. because and it's sort of the instant gratification if people want to jump on. West Ham, Crystal, both look like teams which they can be clean sheet. Brentford, I'm not sure if it's a home game at Newcastle. That looks like clean sheet because Brentford away from home has just like what scored 4 goals. There's barely any attack that Brentford do away from home, so that could be a clean sheet
Yes.
game.
No,
Leicester,
but that's
Ipswich.
an away game, so it's going to be difficult. Brentford's
Okay,
Brentford's ridiculous season so far. I think it should be talked about more. They've been top of the table at home out of all the teams, and bottom of the table away from home out of all the teams so far, which is just like really like bizarre over there. So away from Brentford definitely won't be a clean sheet, I'd
yeah, then
say. But
then
Leicester
that
and
would not
Switch,
be. Yeah, Leicester, Ipswich again easy game for them. Clean sheet potential. Yeah. So seems like
so
four
yeah,
nailed on clean sheet I would say, and then the fifth one could come around anytime. Aston
maybe.
Villa,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe.
yeah. So I'd
But,
say Newcastle tend to
but
stick with them more than.
do you think the fifth sort of defender slot an option, given all the other teams which we talked about? One, would you trust some of the teams out of Chelsea, Nottingham, Everton, and just hold them through and throughout, or would you switch to a Manchester United because or let's say even Rico Lewis from City. That's also a spot that we should discuss. I think we have not discussed Rico Lewis enough. Do you move Rico Lewis slash Guardiola? I think you asked about Guardiola, but do you want to switch move because their defense looks really weak? Let's be honest, they're not the same City.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
switch to a maybe mid, like a lower sort of team, which is again is underwhelming? This no none of the teams are defensively awesome as of now, or do you just hold
Yeah.
them and hope that you get some clean sheet?
Yeah, I mean, again, defense comes back to the fire you need to put out over here. If you don't, if you look, Rico Lewis out could be a luxury transfer because I don't think his minutes are going to be going down. I mean, he might be sitting the odd game, and you might sort of bring in your bench defenders at that point. But if you think your bench defenders sort of Nottingham Forest or Everton, then I think maybe moving on from Rico Lewis makes sense to maybe a Hall or a Kirkes or maybe even a Man United defender. But Man United defense is something which a wait and watch because we don't know who's going to start
Yeah,
at the wing back positions under Amorim. So that's why Man United is not the team that is to jump on right now. But yeah, I think Rico Lewis is a hold if you have a better defender. I mean, maybe if you can bring in a player who you can play through all the fixtures. So, for example, if you bring in a Hall, his difficult fixtures Liverpool at home, and at that point Rico Lewis plays Nottingham Forest. So if
yeah.
he's likely to start that game, then that's not a problem. So yeah, I'd say I hold him if you don't have a problem
Prior
of
to
the other
protect,
defender.
yeah. And like I agree with that point, which also makes me want to extend this. I have the same opinion on Nottingham Forest defenders. Barring Arsenal and City, I think they have decent chances. I don't think they can hold off Tottenham, but the other games they can pick off all clean sheets. So maybe if you have Nottingham Forest as your fourth, fifth defender, just don't waste passes around them.
I mean, I think it's or Ipswich at home and then wait and watch because you can hold them till Ipswich at home, bench them for Arsenal. Then I think you look at the fixtures: Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Brentford, Tottenham, where I don't think there's a single clean sheet because the difficult fixtures are away, like the easier fixtures are away from home.
Yeah,
Like
and
with Man United and Brentford, Aston Villa and Spurs are all probably going to score against Nottingham Forest. You might maybe they can nick off a clean sheet there. Maybe if Spurs have a bad game, they can nick off a clean sheet. But
Villa or
it's not a
Villa Brentford
confident.
Spurs, yeah. But I don't
Yeah,
think that's a move
that's
necessary. You can just hold them off this period because they have defensively look good overall and just hold them.
yeah. I agree with that.
Yep, I think then the team we've discussed like the teams to target. I think Newcastle first, Chelsea
Hmm.
second, essentially Bournemouth third for me, and then
Yeah.
obviously barring Liverpool and Arsenal.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd say somewhat the same. Man United is a wait and watch,
Wait
but
and watch.
yeah, Newcastle is number one. You can look at Hall, Burn as options. I think Hall stands out. Then maybe
All stands
Livramento
out.
and Burn. Coming to Bournemouth, Kirkes is sort of the only option I'm looking at because the right back doesn't seem to be a constant for them. Max Aarons could play, Adam Smith could play. So
Yeah,
not sure about that. Kirkes looks like the sort of young emerging left back who can sort of push who seems to have a pretty high potential. So that's where I'd go. And Chelsea, as we discussed, Colville, probably Sanchez and then Colville.
yeah, I agree. Sanchez and then Colwell for me because safe point would just make a slightly more
Hmm.
difference in my opinion.
Hmm.
Because I haven't
Okay.
seen Colwell just massively attacking. So yeah. But yeah, that should cover up and touch upon most on defenders, and then we can move on to the left bit, which is one thing that we want to
I
touch
think
on.
let's just discuss about the forwards first.
Yeah,
We can look at them here and just sort of discuss. I think that's another important aspect which is coming around this game week with the wild card, without the wild card, whom to go in, whom to stay with. I think this season there are this forwards sort of the least templatized position because you see a
yeah.
mix of different players in each team who are not even 20-25% owned. So where are you at when it comes to the forwards?
My three forward spaces. One is going ahead. Like this is obviously going ahead. Mine look like if I had enough money, I would go Havertz, Isaac, and the third one would be sort of a rotation position. I would like to look at Haaland because I have him and just hold him out. But if you don't want Haaland, I would look at Welbeck. That's sort of the three that I'm looking at.
Okay. I mean, that looks like this, like statistically, these guys are sort of doing well in the underlying stats wise. But the popular ones do seem to be like fixture based as well. You look at Mateus Cunha, who's sort of 0.91 expected goal non penalty, which is not high in the last 6 games, but he's sort of scored 5 goals and 2 assists throughout the seasons, and he's sort of being the popular pick right now. What do you think about him? Is he sort of overperforming, or is he very good finishing wise and for that team? And he looks like the main man for the Wolves team, much
Yeah,
better for that team. He looks like a player who should play for a much better team. He's been on it, fully in form, probably on penalties. He's on set pieces. He's their primary chance creator, the primary scorer. So that sort of stands out. Although his stats are not the best.
yeah, and I agree on the point where, and the main reason he's doing well, he's the talisman of the team. He's more routes to points. Like you see him involved in the build up as well at times, and he's essential. I think there is a huge form factor associated with forwards generally, and
Hmm.
Cunha is in his purple patch and he's doing really well. Nothing against him. Personally, I mean, for the owners that have it gone for him would probably hold to this good fixture run that they have. The picking of choices or order was purely based off rank gain because I'm in a situation where I have to rank gain and can't base out decisions that they're all which for picks which are already popular.
Hmm. Um, then what about looking at João Pedro, who's also been a very popular
Yeah,
asset
that's
coming up, who has great fixtures coming up as we looked at Brighton's fixtures
yeah.
ticker over
But
here. Just look to that.
they have great fixtures, and that's why Welbeck was my choice.
Yes.
Pedro is also in that list because now he will probably start. I'm not sure who gets more minutes, who plays what position. I for sure know whenever Welbeck starts, he starts, and
Mm.
he will start most games. He'll start top of the
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
team.
Although Ruter has been very good, I think sort of Pedro comes back to claim his position because Welbeck has been their main goal scorer. He's been taking free
Yeah,
kicks well and stuff. But Hutzela did mention that Joao Pedro is just their talisman, or like hinted that he's their main guy who's a very good leader, sort of like so on and so on. So it does seem like he does think that Joao Pedro is the main guy in the team. So I think you can end up looking at Joao Pedro as an option. He's on penalties. He's very lively against Man City, so and has great fixtures where you can jump on him.
yeah, I agree. He's got great fixtures, and you can jump on Pedro. Nothing. I'm not sure between the two. I think it will for me personally go down to penalties. But yeah, I agree on the points of Joao Pedro. I think minutes could be a sort of risk for both of them. Pedro only purely because he's back of an injury, and
Hmm.
Welbeck because he is sort of kind of been rotated generally in this period. He's old,
Yeah,
nothing against him.
Welbeck
But
Welbeck is a 70-minute guy. I mean, in
yeah,
general games, as you've seen the trend, Joe Pedro is a 90-minute guy, but is obviously the injury which he's
sort
had,
of
which has
prone.
ruled
Yeah,
him
yeah.
out for 5-6 game weeks. That sort of might be the issue here, but he's more of the 90-minute guy. If as and when you go in this fixture and if he finds his fitness.
And honestly, like given this period, I would rather have someone who plays 70 every game week than a player who's sort of having negative. Because one in this period, 1 or 1.5 week of non being not fit means 3 game weeks, and I wouldn't want
Hmm.
to have that sort of personally like in this sort of period going into this fixture transition sort of situation.
Yeah,
I'd happily
I
take the
do.
70 minutes.
Hmm. I think we will bring a more detailed video on the fixture congestion and sort of looking at
Yeah,
who are the main minutes guys. I think that's a separate discussion and an important discussion coming ahead into these next few game weeks. But yeah, I think I would tend to agree that maybe Welbeck might be a good option too, along with Joe Pedro. But there are quite a few teams that stand out over here, which says that you look at Arsenal, there's Havertz who's there. You look at Chelsea, there's Jackson, who's on 4 yellow cards, but still he's hogging the XG and could be there. I mean, you can have a Chelsea opinion on that. Brighton, you have Joe Pedro Welbeck. Wolves, there's Cunha, Strand Larsen. Bournemouth, there's Evan Nilsson. Newcastle, there's Isak. So there are so many options over the next few weeks, and it's very hard to say that just these three strikers are the main three everyone has to go to. I mean, in form, it sort of looks like Isak, Cunha, and maybe Welbeck. But I think all of them will sort of be options at some point, and
yeah,
depending
and
on
that's
your
where you juggle. I think even with forwards, like my three parameters would be if that person is in like the most forward patch. Given that you have Cunha first, Welbeck second, Isaac third. Then you look at fixture ticker and rank them. Then it's Welbeck, who's pretty much the same fixture, then Isaac, and then you sort of pick.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I would recommend and do because
yeah.
uh, there is not much to differentiate. It's also obviously price point. Isaac is much more expensive than Welbeck and Cunha. There's obviously
I
that
think,
kind
yeah. No, I think form wise, also you look at other players over here like Evan Nilsson, who's also in good form, and maybe other than Havertz, who we are looking at to bring for the Arsenal
but it's not
fixtures.
in form. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone else seems to be in form in these like teams which are pretty good right now.
Yeah, from those that side of team, I think I also want to join Visa in this sort of conversation. A lot of
Yeah,
people have jumped on Visa. They
yeah.
have, and there's a bad fixture on coming in, so that's obviously a hop off for Visa, and that's a good opportunity. But uh,
I think I'd hold till Newcastle at home in 15, then wait and watch for Visa, because I think Everton, Leicester, Aston Villa, Newcastle are good fixtures from a attacking point of view, and they have two good home fixtures where it's like you
yeah,
can
there's
see a
two
Visa
home, two
miss.
away. That's sort of
Yes,
this. It's
so
ultimately two
like
fixtures for them.
that's just the obvious thing you would see with Brentford, but the two home fixtures do look like decent fixtures. Newcastle probably a little harder, but Leicester is a very good fixture, so I wouldn't jump before Leicester.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree. If someone was buying forwards today, I still look at the ones which are in form and have a great run of fixture ahead, which is Isaac, Cunha, and Welbeck. Uh, and then Havertz is again for me. I know there is a huge prospect. I have an attachment given Arsenal fixtures are turning, but then I would recommend to wait because I can't be sure as of now. The others look in form, so why not make use of that?
Yeah. And finally,
And I
the
wouldn't put.
the
I would just want to also add. I wouldn't not put Jackson in the same bracket. Please do not trust him. I've been saying this all season. Just don't trust enough Jackson with the XC. Don't do it. It's just like Nunes. He scores a bit more than him, but it's the same sort of conversation. Accumulating XG will not give you points.
yeah, maybe, but some of his finishes this season have been pretty good. Uh,
Yeah,
in
no,
sort
there's
of.
no doubt in my head that he's not a good striker. The only problem he's not consistent enough as a striker, which is
Hmm.
which is what we want.
Yeah, probably makes sense in that sort of point of view. Coming to couple of teams where the fixtures are mixed and there are popular options. First, to the guy who's been sort of the best so far, Chris Wood. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times before that Chris Wood should be an option I'm definitely considering, but I've not jumped on him all season. But this
All
sort
season,
of
I've been thinking
definitely
this
looks like
game
a
week he would not score. Yeah, this game week is the
yeah.
one he stops.
Yes. Finally, he did blank in game week 11. But looking at the fixture ahead, maybe he's not going to be a buy in at this point. If you didn't have the conviction earlier, you should not have it right now, just because I think the ship has sailed, the points you'll be chasing, and there are better options who have better
Yeah, I
fixtures
agree.
and are good form.
If you have him, I agree. If you have him, sell him off at Man City in 14.
Yes. Yeah, and a couple of more players here. Raul Jimenez from Fulham, who's also sort of seen for quite a few teams. There's Wolves at home, Tottenham away, Brighton at home. Again, three fixtures similar to Visa, which might be
A
good
hold.
to look at, and then you maybe see, then you maybe see if you have like a midfielder who you can fill in, maybe Semenyo or someone who has Ipswich and West Ham in 15 and 16. Then you can bench Raul, and then maybe in 17 play Raul again. after his
Right, right,
Arsenal
right.
Liverpool. So that also sounds good. I don't think Raul is a definite sell. I don't think he's a buy though at this point, because you have
Yeah.
players who are gonna get like a long streak of fixtures, and Fulham's fixtures are sort of middling.
Although, I just want to point it out for our viewers, I have Raul Jimenez, so I'm paying close attention. He's playing for Mexico on a Wednesday late night. He has an early kickoff on Saturday. If there's sort of rumors or there is any news about Raul Jimenez being dropped, sort of on the sub, I would jump the gun, make a move because you lose on Wolves as a fixture, you lose most minutes. There
Yes,
are other teams
yes,
like I would target maybe Cunha with Fulham. You can same say for Isaac, which is got West Ham and Crystal. Two good fixtures. It's an immediate payoff of points, so that's something to consider. If there is news, keep close track because this is one of those games, and it's good going in the fixture. If it was good, like it was a good run of fixtures, but it's not, I would just jump them off.
yeah. And finally, Spurs, Solanke.
Mm.
What is your
Solanke
thought?
is a
I have Solanke
tough
in my
one.
team.
Yeah, it's
It's a
it's a
very
tough one,
tough one.
honestly. I've been wrong about him all season. Every time I've had him, he's not scored. Every time thought he's not looking good, he sort of ended up scoring. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the price problem for me. At
Mm.
that price, are you willing to pay the price?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally a Solanke owner over here. I've not been so frustrated about him. I've been holding him through his returns against United, Brighton, and his haul against Aston Villa. But also his blanks have been little frustrating. But now is the time where you need to make a decision and see, like, because the fixtures are so good for some of the other teams, like looking at Havertz as an option, looking at Joe Pedro or Welbeck as an option, to sort of clear up funds if I want to, or just go do the parallel move. It does look like a time to sell Solanke is finally here, and
Yeah,
I'm just not sure about Spurs. They're so inconsistent. They might end up like he might end up bracing against Man City and blanking
and then
against
like
Southampton. So it's just difficult to hold him.
it is difficult, and I agree with the sort of thought school of thought there. And you probably want to know if your free transfers, do it. Otherwise, you wait till Bournemouth and then do it. If you have nothing to like sort of use your transfers on, Solanke is a good move.
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, I'm looking to maybe bench him or move him away this week, so we can come to that soon. But before we jump
Yeah.
into our bus teams, let's just give a like, share, subscribe plug. You want to go for it?
Yeah, I would just like to put in like I know we do a lot of regular deadline streams as well, and we do a lot of content here. We sort of we putting in, pushing in through as much as we want and can. Would like you guys to please like and subscribe and comment as well. It sort of gives us enough motivation to come back every week, do this on different time zones,
Yeah.
sort of wake up till 2 a.m. in the night and sort of pull this off. So please make sure you comment down below that you like some parts of it. At least tell us what we should do more and subscribe to our channel so that we have this going on again and again and more people get joined to our sort of stream membership chat. And there's a lot of, for people who don't know, we want to probably also plug in our members chat like we do have a members group and on WhatsApp and sort of Instagram where we do a lot of conversation. We sort of price changes discussions every time there's a transfer move. We have teams discussion for every sort of member that is available. League news is out there, injury news is out there first. So a lot of important expert discussion happens on that group. So if you want to be a part of that, also comment down below or just drop us a DM on the Instagram channel and we can help you out.
Yes, yes. You can also sort of look at. I mean, we can add a link in this video as well. You can
Yeah,
sort of use that for the membership, and also look at our Instagram. We have regular content over there, which is very sort of useful,
daily
quick
content out there.
contents, daily content, and quick different sort of analysis that can help you with your FPL team. Yeah. So finally, let's just jump into our bus teams. It's been a long pod
Yeah,
after a
yeah,
while.
this long pod. Discuss our team, and then yeah, sort of our long-term plan going into this. This looks like my team, which is I have a
Yeah.
lot of sort of problems in defense and everything. I think two moves that I'm planning to do. I have two free transfers, 1 million in the bank. One is Foden out. That's a primary concern. I'm going to hold Raul and Visa. This game week, that's Foden out is one move. I was planning to do it to Bruno Fernandes, uh, but I'm sort of unsure. Should I upgrade to a Saka or Bruno Fernandes? That's the decision
Where
I
would
need
you?
to make.
Yeah. So if you need
Because
to upgrade to a Saka, then you'll have to do a Luis Diaz to maybe Semenyo.
yeah, no, yeah, that's sort of the thought. My earlier thought was like I was supposed to do Foden to Bruno, last game, but I gave City the chance against Brighton, did not work out. So I'm looking for a Foden replacement. I might still go Bruno because he fits into the budget quickly. Then I can. The reason for that is then I can upgrade Davis to Lewis Hall, which is sort of looking good, or I can do a wish upgrade to an Isaac. Let's see if that funds permit. I think they will be able to permit that move. Those are sort of the two thought processes I have as of now.
Hmm.
Or a well back.
Okay.
If I don't, I would do a well back move.
And in long term, I think you were very bullish on Saka. And do you have a plan to bring Saka in?
Yeah.
And is it instead of Palmer, or you're trying to look at another way?
No, I am thinking two sort of moves, which is Diaz down to Rogers, and Mbuemo up to Saka. And I say
Okay.
Rogers because I know he will start all games through and through for Aston Villa. They have mixed good fixtures, so I want to play him in and out. And he looks good as of now.
Hmm. Yeah. And Diaz, I'm not sure about this week. He's playing in Colombia, and
Yeah,
if
again,
he does,
I
it does
I
look like
got
he
him for the
starts. But
1 people. Yeah,
Liverpool do play on the Sunday, so it's a very tricky one. You're playing Southampton,
yeah.
where Diaz does play. He's gonna do that. But the positive thing is Nunez also plays in South America, so it's gonna be one between the two who's gonna be dropped on, and you do guess that Gakpo will start because he's gonna be having a lesser travel for
More
the
time. Yeah,
Southampton game. Yeah, and with Real Madrid and Man City coming in, you're just not sure over there. I think closer to the time,
most
you might have
likely
more
Diaz
information.
would not play, and I know that mentally. That's also in sort of the thought process. But you can't just remove him. So I will play him, give him the 20 odd minutes. Hopefully, he does something. But yeah,
Yeah. And your any long-term thoughts in your team that you're looking
need,
at players you want?
need to change a couple of things. Sort of Flecken is in thoughts. Upgrade that. Change one of my defenders so that I have a core three. I will change Davis. I'm really unsure on Davis versus Mikalenko, but I have that debate going on. But change one of them. Keep the fourth one. Palmer stays. I'm going to have a three uh, sort of premium structure. First, Palmer, Saka, and Haaland, and then switch Haaland down to someone for Salah eventually. So that's and I need to get Rogers somehow in my team because
Okay.
I Rogers is sort of taking points every game week, and that's someone you want.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap and doing very well
Yeah,
this season for us as
he's
well.
doing really well. Yeah, don't want him out.
Yeah. Moving on to my bus team, I think I have gotten few points from Isak and Cunha of late, so that's good. But Raya and goal, Fabianski is the alternative. So Raya's probably pretty much going to start in all these weeks. Gabriel, Mikolenko, Trent, who's going to move away this week. Lewis and Greaves. Salah, Palmer, Mbomo, Johnson, Rogers, Isak, Cunha, and Solanke. Um, this might be my first hit of the season because I just I mean I couldn't start one of the Spurs guys against City and just hold that second transfer, but I do think there's sort of an upgrade and also sort of a long term view in maybe getting in Bruno Fernandes or Havertz as and when I downgrade Trent. So these are the two transfers I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think if I was doing it this week, I would prefer Bruno Fernandes for the Ipswich game, uh, and then try to maybe a Louis Hall. That's what you're considering, or a Konate.
Yeah. No, I think I'd do a Konate if I'm doing Solanke to Havertz, and I'd do a Lewis Hall if I'm doing
No, I mean
uh, Johnson to
you can.
Bruno, because I want to have that sort of 1 million in the bank that could later help me. Maybe so, for example, if I do Trent to Hall and Johnson to Bruno, then I have that 1 million extra on the bank, which can then help me in future downgrade Solanke and do Embumo to Saka. Solanke to Joao Pedro, Embumo to Saka as possible. But if I do a Konate, that wouldn't be possible. Then I'll have to move on Bruno again in 2 weeks. So if I do bring in Bruno, I'm going to wait for the next 2 weeks where both Mbumo and Bruno have good fixtures and then make the decision on whether I want to do Bruno to
To
whether I want to do Bruno to Saka or Mbumo to Saka. But if I want to go to Havertz and then I'm ignoring Saka because I already have two Arsenal defense, then I'll probably do a Trent to Konate and hold Konate over the long term, and then Solanke to Havertz, and then I don't have too many transfers planned. Maybe I move Johnson away to a Semenyo or something in the future game weeks, but I don't have too many transfers planned in that particular
so
occasion.
who are you getting
So
Bruno for now?
Johnson.
Yeah. So you're funding it through Trent only, right? Correct.
Through Trent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say go Hall. The only reason it's sort of more long term gives you the option of then figuring it out where you want to have Saka or not. You can still have the funds, keep it, and later I think there will be a chance where you have to upgrade Mikalenko/Lewis, and then you can use those funds again back to Konate. Wouldn't make a huge difference. Would still be one transfer, so you save a transfer essentially, and will give you the
yeah,
alternative you want.
yeah. And I can still move Havertz if I do think he is
Yeah, and
looking at a
it basically gives
yeah.
you allows you all of your permutation, and still will only take one transfer to get to Konate eventually.
Yeah, I can do Lewis to Konate as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I am sort of leaning towards that because I can still have two good fixtures of Bruno Fernandes, and then see if
yeah,
I want to keep
exactly.
Bruno Fernandes or want to go to Saka.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
But that's good. That looks like a great sort of team, and that
yeah,
sort of
yeah. I
that's the
think I
situation I
think
want to be in.
uh, yeah. I mean, couple of moves that have recently, or I mean, three moves that have recently favored me well is jumping on Salah at the right point of
Salah.
time. I removed Haaland for the Brighton at home fixture for Salah, and then Arsenal at home, where he's sort of been a very good captaincy option. And Isak, I brought him last week because I had to dispose Calvert Lewin. I didn't want to hold him longer. And since Johnson and Solanke were playing Ipswich at home, I didn't want to bring in Bruno, so I brought in Isak, which I'm pretty much happy about. I'm not greedy for Bruno. And Cunha has also been a very good transfer. I think the double transfer of Haaland to Cunha has outscored Haaland. Like, even if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
include his
In all,
captaincy points,
yeah,
Cunha
yeah,
has outscored him. And Salah has also been that. That's sort of been the swing over here, and that's the variance that has sort of favored me. But going forward, I'm sort of looking at yeah. I
yeah.
want
Hopefully,
Saka, so I just want to wait and watch Arsenal for those one or two fixtures, and then sort of decide who I
yeah.
want.
Looks bleak for me. Honestly, earlier I was thinking of Haaland out this game week, but again, I don't see the. I mean, I see the point for Salah, especially this game week, but let's see. I can still do Haaland out Salah. It does really backfire the point, and then I try to gain points elsewhere. But yeah, that's sort of the situation.
Yeah, and if you're holding Haaland, you're just captaining him, right?
No, not happening, Haaland.
Then
Palmer. Palmer is sort of where I'm
oh,
going.
yeah, I think
Palmer or
that's just
Isaac.
another.
Either or. Yeah, there's
Uh,
options, I think. Yeah. If I go Isaac, then that's an option too.
hmm.
Bruno is decent as an option.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's between Palmer and Saka, and Palmer and Salah, and I'm actually leaning
If you
towards
have
Palmer this
Salah,
week.
but yeah.
I just feel like this could
Feel
be
like
the
Palmer
week
could
where,
be a comeback, yeah.
so I mean, I'll leave it towards late. I'm not too sure about Salah against Southampton away. It could be a fixture where Liverpool win just like 1-0 or 2-0, and maybe he has an assist, or maybe he does what he does. But Palmer has the higher ceiling in this fixture, where you could see him scoring a hat trick because he tends to do that
Yeah.
more often than Salah. So that's why I think I'm waiting and watching. It's an early kickoff for Chelsea that sort of has the myth of not
Diminishes, yeah.
seeing.
Yeah, diminishes the appeal.
But yes,
But
that's
okay,
where I am.
that's a good place to be in. But that sort of brings us to the end of the discussion, a really long one. But yeah, there's an important sort of video that we should put out in the next few days, which is about fixture congestion and players that you want to consider because it's important to have players which are sort of glue. Given the season, I think it's very important to use your fixtures. I don't think it's a great season to just keep holding onto them. So have some glue guys and then hop off of players will help you. But yeah, that is about it from this sort of podcast. I don't think we have any other thing to discuss. Do you have anything last couple of things to say?
Exciting time. This is what we play FPL for. One third of the season is gonna be lying in the next
Yeah,
45 days,
45 days.
and it's just gonna be a lot of variances. I think it's gonna be a lot to take, but I think we should just come back to the root why we play this game is just to have fun, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun too. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Salah scoring more. Like to see his new hairstyle and hairline, and I really believe there's a correlation. But
Yeah,
that's sort of
let's.
been the thing. Let's hope for it.
Okay, yeah, that's it
We'll wrap
from this pod.
we'll wrap it up for you guys. This is the FPL test team signing off. Cheers.
Cheers.